to Black Solutions and with another inspirational spotlight. It's your boy Solomon back again to talk with my guy. We had to run it back again. The producer, creator of All American, Spencer Paysinger. Man, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing well, all things considered. I know that the world's damn near burning down, but I can say in my home I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. Like I said, I'm up here in the Bay Area. It's a little rainy right now, but we need it. You know what I'm saying? So nothing wrong with that. I don't mind the rain these days. As long as I can be inside and warm, it's all good with me. It's all good with
Shoot,
me.
send some down our way. We definitely need it down here.
Yeah, definitely. So season 3 of All American just aired last week. I know that's really big for you and it's been getting a lot of good positive reception. But just focus away from that a little bit. 2020 came and went, you know what I'm saying? Really rough year for a lot of people with going on. How have you been since we've last talked? It's been a while since I touched bases with you, but how's everything been going? How you been dealing with the pandemic and, family and
Ooh. I mean, I feel like it's been a roller coaster of emotions, both good and bad. I've figured out a lot of things about myself, a lot of things about my family, even how I parent and how I am as a husband in this point. I mean, in this COVID, because we're just at home all day. So like me and my wife, even have we've had jokes in the past few months of saying like, yo, we have nothing to talk about because we're here like together, consuming everything together in the same spot. Like before, you're out running around having meetings and being on set and everything, but us being forced to be locked down just didn't allow for a lot of new information to come in. But on a positive note, it allowed me to just like see my kids, growing up before my eyes. Like my son, when we went into COVID, he was still in a stroller, like barely talking, not walking at all. And now he's climbing all over the house. So to me, that's one of the positive things of COVID is just allowing me to see my kids grow.
That's dope. I see you've been getting your handyman on too. You were fixing the dishwasher that one time and getting tips and everything. So yeah, it's definitely brought out a lot of different skills, especially on your end.
I mean, at the end of the day, like I don't really want like anybody in my house right now because we don't know what's happening with COVID and such.
Yeah,
Like, one, let me save some money. Two, let me get my handyman on and see what I can do. And for the most part, all the projects that I've done have been nothing's broken down since. So I think I'm doing something right.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. So I want to go into season 2 of All American. If you guys don't know, All American is a show about yourself and how you grew up. Crenshaw transitioning to Beverly and dealing with life and racism and just depression and everything going on. Dealing with a Black teenager in the Los Angeles area. So season 2 was crazy. A lot of things happened. You know what I'm saying? So what was the process going into season 2, dealing with those, especially dealing with those issues like racism and gentrification and depression and abandonment?
Yeah, the process of season 2 was like, from season 1, getting approved for season 2 was its own feat, and it's for everybody watching on Netflix that I truly believe allowed us to have the privilege of getting a season 2. But when we were carving out what season 2 would look like, we really wanted to keep it to a neighborhood story because of the success that season 1 had. We had a lot of prominent figures, actors and other celebrities, wanting to touch base, wanting to just like have cameos and whatnot. And just a testament to our showrunner and Kichio Carroll saying like, no, we're going to keep this a neighborhood story. If it makes sense to have an artist or a celebrity come on the show, then it makes sense. But we're not going to try to force the hand by any means. At the end of the day, we want to tell the story of a young Black kid in Los Angeles dealing with the weight of two worlds. So that was our DNA for season 2, and just everything that came with that, from still having one foot in each world, but also dealing with police stuff and gentrification, like you said, and just being a young kid in South Central and everything that comes with it. So I appreciate everybody that found it on CW, everybody that found it on Netflix, and now that season 3 is out, we've had such a warm response that I'm just excited for you guys to see the rest of season 3.
Definitely very excited. So one specific scene that stood out was the hospital scene where Spencer had his incident and him and Olivia really had to, we're going through it, you know what I'm saying? Not only dealing with the physical issue, but also racism within that. So why was that scene so important to put in there just to showcase to everybody?
Yeah, and, and from my perspective with that episode, it was, there are a lot of statistics out there that show that, Black and brown and minority people have a difficult time in the medical space. We're often perceived as stronger than other people. We don't necessarily need as much care as other people, and just not having that nurturing base that we would want from doctors. So when our writers cracked that episode, to me, it was important because it's just shedding light on some of the things that happen in the Black and brown community. So yeah.
Got you. So you also touch on like addiction and recovery throughout the whole show. And that's a really big thing. It was just like trying to better themselves. Why was it important to show that as well in the show?
Well, we just want to show that there's a different side to just the common ethos around some of these like big topics. When it comes to addiction and recovery, when you think somebody's an addict, you think they're itching and scratching and ashy and just like always feeding for the next thing. But we really want to show that like sometimes these kids fall down this path and they really want to seek help. They really want to be a better person, to try to be better for other people, but this addiction just has them. So we just wanted to show that like the nuance to this type of disease, because it truly is a disease.
Yeah, got you. And this being a football show, how do you go through like recruiting to find maybe the best actors to match like the athletes and everything like that? Just to keep it real, what's the word? Like
just authentic. Yeah, I mean,
authentic. Yeah.
Yeah, so we actually outsource a lot of our, football vetting, sports vetting through Game Changing Films. So they're a platform in Hollywood that actually, find, D1, ex-D1 college athletes or some professional athletes. Like, there's a guy on our show that's an extra that I actually played with in Miami. There's another guy that's in season 3 that's the assistant to the new head coach at Beverly. I played with him at Oregon.
Okay.
So like it's a really good platform for ex-athletes that don't really know how to get into the TV and film space, but know that, hey, they're young, they're athletic, they have some time on their hands, and they could spend, a half a day on set, just like seeing how things are going, getting in a couple scenes and whatnot. And we've actually had a handful of those players that have done good work for Game Changing Films that have had speaking roles with an All-American. So it's by no means, I'm not out there searching for the ex-athletes and whatnot, but it's just, that's Game Changing Films just being great.
Got you. So with this whole process of creating the show and now you're going into season 3, what has been the most challenging part of the creative process for you?
Oh man, well, season 3, getting it done was a feat. And I mean, honestly, we're not even done. We're about halfway through shooting season 3, and that's how it's always been, getting a few episodes in before we premiere. But with COVID throwing us for a loop, we were supposed to start last July and end up getting pushed back to, I believe, early October, late September, somewhere around that time. Okay. So with COVID restrictions and, getting tested 4 times a day, and I myself not even being allowed to be on set unless I'm actually in those scenes because, we're trying to keep bodies down as much as possible. It was getting it done this season is a true testament to, one, the crew, the cast, and again, our showrunner who pretty much righted the ship from the get-go.
Nice. So with season 3 premiering, what can we expect without giving a little too much to the fans and everything? What can we expect with season 3?
Yeah, well, we ended season 2 with sort of that cliffhanger that, Spencer's coming back to South Crenshaw along with Billy Baker, and they're going to attempt to make a run at the state title to save the school. And as we start season 3, Spencer's back at South Central. He's back at South Crenshaw with Billy Baker, and we realize that, or Spencer realizes that, yes, this is his hometown now. He's kind of come back as the hero, but the landscape has changed for him. You know, players don't see him the same way as when he left. He's a hero to some people, but he's kind of a villain to others because he did leave for greener pastures. So it's him understanding that, you know, he has to sort of redefine his home for himself while still having ties to Beverly. We're touching on mental health. We're touching on some other issues that have popped up in the world within the past year or so, because we've always felt that All American has been such a great platform in giving these worldly stories through our eyes, through our lens, and putting them through the All American lens to just show the world that this is how we perceive these things. So we definitely have ties to, you know, Black Lives Matter within the show. We're touching on, again, mental health. But at the end of the day, Spencer's a 17-year-old kid on the brink of college, trying to figure out, one, where's he want to go, and two, can he save his community and South Crenshaw?
Got you. I got you. So what's next for the real Spencer, the man I'm talking to right now? What do you got, you know, working on? What can you tell me? You know what I'm saying? What's your plans and everything?
Yeah. So I got a few things and kind of across the board, but I appreciate the fact that I'm fluid enough to go from like unscripted to scripted and whatnot. But I'm currently attached to write a film with Von Howard's company, Imagine Entertainment, based on a young Black kid in Atlanta that finds just who he is as a person through karate. And that's called Battle of Atlanta. So we're pitching that to all the major streamers right now. I'm writing a few concepts of myself, more proof of concepts, films and TV shows. But on the producing side, me and my producing partner have a handful of sports related and some not so much sports related concepts that we're pitching right now. So can't talk too much about those. We've had some good movement on a couple of those, but for me, I don't count things unless I have them, like the signature signed, the ink is dry. So maybe in a couple weeks / months, we can get back on and I can talk about those.
I got you. No problem. It's all good. So you being a producer, creative, what advice could you give to an upcoming creative or an emerging creative who's trying to maneuver through the pandemic and everything going on, and, you know, seeing you've had a lot of bumps in the road? What advice could you give to the youngins out there?
Oh, I mean, read and write. That's something that at times, I haven't lived up to myself. I get into the weeds of meetings and just the day-to-day of other things that sometimes I don't sit down and say, like, this is what I got. This is why I got here, because I read a lot and I wrote a lot. So if you can carve out an hour or two a day, to read a script, to read a book about, whatever it is you're pursuing in this industry, do anything you can to read and write at least daily. Literally this morning, my wife reminded me that I need to start scheduling my writing times on my calendar, because I'd always find a way to say, oh, I can do it later. And later never came. So yeah, find a time. Just now that we're in COVID, just incubate yourself. If you guys don't have kids, it's probably twice as easy for you guys to do it. But yeah, absolutely find time to sort of incubate yourself and just take in as much knowledge in this space as possible.
That's nice. So I gotta ask, man, Super Bowl coming up, biggest sporting event of the year. Who do you got, Bucks or Chiefs?
Man, I don't see how the Chiefs lose this, but maybe I'm entering old head era, but I want to see Tom Brady get another one. We're watching like the Michael Jordan of our generation be Michael Jordan. Yeah. And the fact that, 43 years old, went to a new team with all the doubts of saying he needed Belichick, taking the Buccaneers, who haven't really been anything for the past 20 or so years, and automatically got them into the Super Bowl. Yes, he's had some hiccups along the way and whatnot, but we're literally watching, the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. This will be Patrick Mahomes' league for the next 10 years. But right now, I don't know. I think Tom Brady could get in Patrick Mahomes' head and say, like, yo, he's literally going against the GOAT right now. So it's not going to be a blowout because Buccaneers defense is stout. So honestly, it might come down to who has the ball last.
Yeah. I hope it's a close game, really. I hate seeing blowouts in championships. I've never seen a quarterback would do what he do. So I
Yeah,
might be a passing of the torch. You know what I'm saying?
it's
Yeah.
like it's frustrating watching him like be so good. I'm actually very like happy I never even played against him because I'm like, yo, I don't know how to guard against this. Like he can take off a run,
Look
he can
past
throw
it.
any way possible, and
Yeah.
all of his weapons are pretty much Pro Bowl weapons. So
Yeah.
you know the Bucks are gonna have it cut out for them, but they got Tom Brady at the helm, and when the game's on the line, like it's I mean he got 6 Super Bowls for a reason.
Yeah, definitely. You can't knock that. You definitely can't knock
Exactly.
that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, man, Spencer, thank you for talking to me again. Love the work you're doing, man. Keep up the good work and everything you got going on and keep us updated. How can we just drop all your social media handles and how can people follow you and also the show as well?
Yeah, so you can follow me at Paysinger without the vowel, so PYSNGR across Instagram and Twitter. You can follow my production page, Welcome to Moore Street. That's on my page as well, on my Paysinger page as well. You can watch All American on CW when it airs Monday nights, and then the next day it goes on the CW app. So yeah, that's to me that's where you can find me and everything about All American.
All good, man. Well, Spencer, thank you again, man. We'll definitely keep in touch and everything and support you whatever you got going on, man. Have a good rest of the week.
Absolutely. Appreciate y'all.
No problem.
Y'all take care.
You too.